Welcome back to the Isn't That Rich podcast. I'm your host, Jill Franks.
And I'm your host, Ashley McVicker.
And today we're talking about all things pay stub. So every week or every other week, you should be getting a pay stub. But when was the actual last time you sat down to read it and use it as a strategy to plan your finances? And I was thinking about it, and the way things work today, I get an automatic direct deposit into my account every week. And the last time I looked at my pay stub was probably when we mistakenly got it. And well, we changed pay providers or whatever, and that was the last time I looked at it. But it's a good time to sit down and work things out and figure out what everything actually means on your pay stub.
Absolutely, because I feel like we talk about our whole lives. Well, everything's just getting taken out of my paycheck, but do you actually know what's getting taken out of your paycheck, and do you know what that means? So we went on a little deep dive to see what all of these things actually mean and make sure everything's correct, and it just helps you get a better understanding of where all your finances go, which of course we think is very important.
Yes. So first thing I realized when I was looking at the pay stub was there are a lot of abbreviations for things. I didn't know exactly what everything meant. So I think we're going to really hit on everything that could possibly be on your pay stub and what it means, kind of also where it goes. So you get taxes taken out of your pay stub or your paycheck, but where do those taxes actually go? I'm excited. We're going to go through the top, bottom of a pay stub.
And there's lots of different things that can be on a pay stub too. I'm looking at all of this, and you think that everyone just has the same pay stub with the same amount coming out, and it's not like that. No. So it's good to familiarize yourself with this. So definitely ask your employer where you can find your pay stub.
Yeah, and if you haven't logged in to look at it, be sure to do so. Your first thing you're going to see on your pay stub, though, is kind of your personal information and your earnings. So this is like you'll have your personal information, your address, all of that good stuff. And then it's going to be your gross earnings.
Yeah, it's going to tell you what you wish you could fully take home.
Yes. So before any deductions, before any taxes, this is your gross income that's stated. And typically that will be, depending on how often you get paid, whether you get paid weekly, you'll have 52, you'll have your total income divided by 52, or you'll have your total income divided by 24, whatever you get paid, whether it's biweekly, weekly, every 2 weeks, twice a month. Some people get paid twice a month. And those months with an extra week in it, you could get a paycheck 3 times in 1 month. Yeah. So good to plan for those things. Mm-hmm. Another thing you'll see in this top section is any bonus you might have. So, you get your typical gross pay, but a bonus will come out as a different line item. So it's important to note that if you do receive a bonus, maybe it's around the holidays, maybe you get a bonus quarterly, twice a year, whatever that looks like for you. This is the line where your bonus will be sitting as well.
The next one you might see is the abbreviation RSU, which is a restricted stock unit. So this is a promise of future company shares, not stock you own yet, but once it vests, the value counts as income on the stub, same as a bonus. Oh,
that's interesting. Yeah, so we don't get stock in our company.
These are I feel like bigger
but
companies.
But bigger companies or, different businesses might allow you to have stock in that company or stock
One thing
options.
Doing our research for this podcast, it's interesting the different places you may live and the things that can be taken out of your paycheck. And obviously we're going to read more about that, but you were telling me some yesterday. I'm like, wow, we don't have that option to even have that taken out of our paycheck here in Southern Illinois. So
definitely. Yeah. One thing to note with bonuses and RSUs is a lot of them get taxed differently than your normal paycheck, which I didn't realize was a thing either. So depending on if you get paid a lower wage or if you get paid like a super high wage, you can plan your tax strategy differently because of how your bonus comes out or your RSU gets taxed. So sometimes there's like a flat tax rate for your bonus. And I remember I was always surprised. I'm like, I feel like I get none of my bonus that gets paid to me during the holidays, right? So I'm like, why am I only, I got this huge bonus and then I only got to take home this amount of it. Well, it might have been taxed at a higher rate than your normal income is taxed.
Yeah, I think pay attention too when you, if you know you're going to get a bonus, maybe your employer offers you, hey, do you want to contribute part of your bonus to, your retirement plan, get some of this money pre-tax. And so you need to be really strategizing these options.
I love that point because people don't realize, when you contribute your money to your 401k or something like that, it might go in completely tax-free, right? And
so you could do that. So another reason you need to know what's on your pay stub, folks.
Yeah. Is there anything else in that top section that you want to hit on?
I don't think so.
I think your days, so if you get paid time off, this is also where it might show up as well. So make sure to, request those times off, get it approved, and make sure you're getting paid for that time off. That's in that top section as well for your earnings. The second section.
I feel like this is the biggest one, is your pre-tax deductions.
It's so important.
So this is, once again, pre-tax. These are the things that are coming out of that gross pay number. My mom always said, gross. It's like a gross amount of money.
So much money.
I remember that. Like, it's so gross. You're so rich. And then net pay is at the bottom, what catches in the net. So if you don't know that, now you know that. But this is all coming out of your gross pay. And I feel like one of the biggest ones for people is going to be your healthcare premium. And so that is going to be abbreviated MED or just medical. And so this goes to your health insurance carrier. So that money you have to kind of prepay to say, I'm on this insurance. And sometimes your employer may pay your premium. They may pay half your premium. You may still owe. And so if you get on your pay stub and you see medical or med, that means that you're paying for your healthcare premium.
I see. And
super easy.
I love, just to kind of reiterate this, your entire dollar gets to go to that.
Your gross.
Your gross.
Your gross.
So that entire dollar goes to your medical bill. Another abbreviation you might see is your dental. And so that looks like DEN or dental. That's a line item, as well as vision, which would be VIS or vision. And
I always think this is funny, Jill. And I see these memes. Why are our eyes and our mouth separate from our healthcare?
I know. I think that's so crazy too, that we have to have.
It is so weird.
3 different healthcare plans. For our body.
Yeah, like that's like podiatry. What am I going to have a podiatry line? On
thank goodness our feet and our hands aren't separate,
right?
As well.
So anyway, just know if you see medical, it doesn't always fully cover your vision and dental. So know those things about your company as well.
Yes.
Oh, the next one, we love this, is a 401k. So this is going to be your traditional pre-tax retirement contribution. So basically, whatever money you have decided a percentage of your gross pay to set aside to pay for your retirement, it can go to a 401k. And this is typically for for-profit businesses. And then if you're working for maybe a non-for-profit, you might opt into a 403B plan. So it's kind of the same as a 401k. It's pre-tax dollars going into a retirement account.
And this is like for nonprofits, but also I think a lot of schools are on this type of plans, maybe some hospitals, things like that. You might receive a retirement plan in a 403B. So
yeah. So pretty much the same thing, just depending on what type of company you're working for, you're going to receive a 401k or a 403B. And also, I think that's a good line item to look at. Make sure you're contributing if you have the ability to contribute.
Right. And I like to do the calculation on this to make sure what your goals are for your 401k. So if you're wanting to max out your 401k, divide that out, or whatever the max is for the year, divide that out and make sure that you're actually matching that every single pay period. Yeah. Because you don't want to underfund your 401k or overfund it. And then, at some point, you won't be able to contribute that year. So just be able to look at that every pay period. Another thing, so if you're in government or education, you might actually see the line item called PERS or PSRS instead. So that's just a public employee or public school retirement system, which goes into a state pension fund rather than your own brokerage account. So just something to note.
Oh, I love this one too. The next one's going to be an HSA, which is your health savings account. So this is a personal account in your name. It's yours permanently. It rolls over every year. And this is your health savings account. So this is fantastic because this is, once again, pre-tax dollars going to an account that you can pay all of your health care out of. Any type of appointments. If you've ever been on the HSA store, you should check it out. You can even pay for like a sauna on there or sunscreen. It's like amazing the things that are like health savings account qualified. Yes. So if you are contributing to an HSA, and maybe, you know, not all places do have an HSA, but that is also where you will see that on your paycheck.
Yeah, we just had a whole episode because farmers just moved to an HSA, which I'm really excited about. But we have a whole episode if you want to check that out with Tasha Wesley, and she gives a good explanation about how to fund that.
It's a triple tax account, they call it. Pre-tax, gross, tax-free, and you can take it out tax-free on HSA qualified purchases. So.
Yeah, a lot of people think it's one of the best wealth building strategies out there right now. So
yeah, so if you're not contributing to your HSA and that's on your line item, you should look into it.
The next one you might see, it's very similar to an HSA, but this one's employer administered. It's an FSA. So it's usually forfeited if you don't use it the year that you build it.
Right. The way I understand is the HSA rolls over, FSA
does
you gotta use it.
Got to use it. Any money you contribute to your
kind of like
FSA.
Vacation time. Usually doesn't roll over. You got to use it that year.
Use it up.
Flexible spending account. Next one is DCFSA, Dependent Care FSA. So it's the same structure as an FSA, but it's earmarked for children or elder care costs.
So this could help with your child care costs.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've never heard of that one before.
No. And I've never heard about this next one. It's called commuter benefits. So it might look like COMM on a line item. So some people get paid
Living in the city.
pre-tax to pay for their transportation. So maybe you have a garage, a parking spot in a garage. Your employer pays for that. Well, that's a definite benefit, and it comes out pre-tax. So
absolutely. Well, yeah.
Well, you're still paying it out of your paycheck, but you get to spend the whole dollar on your parking pass or your bus pass, whatever that looks like.
Yeah. Thank you, company, for letting us do pre-tax. This is important. It's so important because if you don't know about these things, you don't know, you don't want to use your after-tax dollars on some things.
Right. You want to get the full dollar worth.
The full amount, people.
Yeah. One thing to note is these deductions don't all reduce the same taxes. So a 401k could lower your federal and state income tax, but not Social Security or Medicaid. So an HSA can actually lower that piece too, so we'll talk about taxes and what that looks like next, but you get taxed after all of these things come out.
Yes.
So that's how much, so these are all tax deductions, right? So like your health care gets taken out and now you're down to the next line item. Well, this is what you officially get taxed on federally in state income tax. So we'll talk about that next. Mm-hmm. So the third thing, or the third section on your pay stub, is going to be taxes withheld. And the first thing you're going to notice is what I just said, that FIT or FWT, which is your federal income tax or federal withholding tax. It's based on your W-4 and it goes to the U.S. Treasury to fund things such as defense, infrastructure, and federal agencies. And this is just an estimate. When it comes time to do your taxes, you'll reconcile against what you select and is actually pulled out every pay period. And if you're self-employed, this might not come out at all. You're in charge of doing that all on your own during tax time. So,
yeah, or if you're like a 1099 and you have like a side hustle, you have to think about things like that too. Because I have a side job and I remember getting a penalty, Jill.
Yes.
Because I didn't take this money out. And I'm like, they'll penalize you for not taking your taxes out. So make sure that if you are somebody that's self-employed or you do have these side jobs, even if you do have a full-time job like me, you need to make sure you're responsible for making sure all of this stuff gets paid. So I recommend going and talking to an accountant.
Yeah, making sure you have that money set aside. Otherwise, all of a sudden it's tax time and you have to come up with thousands of dollars to pay those taxes with. Yeah.
It's so easy to work for a company because they're just taking it all out for you.
Yes.
So the next one for taxes withheld is FICA. Everyone says FICA, FICA, Federal Insurance Contribution Act. This is the umbrella term for the next two. So this is going to be your Social Security or your Medicare tax.
Okay.
And Social Security may look different on everybody's pay stub. One may say SS, one may say SOC, SEC, and one may say OASDI. Wow, lots of acronyms.
But that's just good to know because everybody's paycheck might look a little differently. And you're like, okay, what is actually getting taken out of my account? Well, this is your Social Security tax.
And it's 6.2% of taxable wages up to the annual wage cap, which I think
it's 100,000 something. I think it's 100,000. I'm not 100% sure. I'll put it in the blog when we write this, but I believe it's around 100,000.
Because I think if you go over a certain cap, then you have to pay a little bit of a percentage more, if I'm correct. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so if you're wondering where this money goes, because we all look at our pay and we're like, where is this money going? This is going to the Social Security Trust Fund run by the Social Security Administration. So basically this is for current retirees, survivors, disabled workers. So it's your money.
Yeah.
It's going to hopefully future you when you retire, or if you are a survivor, or, a widow or disabled. You could be a young person and be disabled and maybe receive Social Security benefits. So sometimes I feel like we get frustrated because we're paying those things now, but like maybe I need that in 2 years, you never know. So
absolutely. I went down a rabbit hole yesterday when we were kind of looking into Social Security and how it works and when you get paid out and, what if happens if your spouse all of a sudden passes and do you still receive those benefits? And it's a little tricky. I think it's worth a whole nother episode. So stay tuned. We might have a whole episode about what happens with Social Security should something happen to you or something happen to your spouse.
This stuff this just needs to be in high school.
I know. There should be a tax class.
We're like,
I agree.
Whoa, everything spider webs out. But so yes, that was kind of a mouthful, the Social Security part. So the next part of the FICA is going to be your Medicare tax. So this is going to be abbreviated MED or MED-FICA, and that is going to be 1.45% of all wages plus 0.9% surtax above $200,000 in income.
So if you make over that $200,000 in income, know that every dollar over that is going to be taxed at an extra 0.9%.
And so what Medicare is Medicare goes towards the Medicare Hospital Insurance Trust Fund, and it funds Part A of Medicare, and Medicare has like all these different parts. So there's Part A, B, C, and D, I think.
Yes.
And this is for people over 65 or if you are disabled.
Right, and that could be a whole nother episode. What is Medicaid? What is Medicare? The difference between the two, what they actually cover. And I think that's a really good episode too. So I think we have 2 ideas coming up
and
for
it's
episodes.
Interesting because maybe not all of your Medicare that you paid in your entire life will maybe cover all of your Medicare insurance when you're older. So you will hear things about supplemental insurance and all
Gap
that.
insurance,
and then it brings you back around to the HSA, because then your HSA might supplement your insurance. So you need to know all these things, people.
Yeah, and does it cover your pharmacy bills? Does it cover all that stuff? So there's a lot to know.
Cover those eyes and teeth like we talked about earlier? We don't know.
Yeah. But just know if you see this on your pay stub, that's what it's going to fund.
And you're probably going to see this on your pay stub. I believe most people have to have this on their pay stub.
Yes. One thing, and it's a distinction that I want to talk about that you might not notice. So it might say MEDEE or MEDER, might have that extra tag associated with it. And that just really shows you if it's employee contributed. So EE means it came out of your check. ER means it's the employer's share shown for transparency, even though it's never touched your paycheck. So just a good distinction if it's labeled ER or EE.
To me, it just seems like EE, I paid for it. ER, they paid for it.
Correct.
Kind of like maybe for your health insurance, someone either pays your premium or you pay your premium.
Right.
I don't know though.
I don't know.
Look into your company.
So let me read that again. So ER means it's the employer's share. So does your employer
never touched your paycheck? Yeah. So I don't think you paid for it. So maybe your employer is paying for your Medicare.
Yeah.
These are all very important.
See, we need to look closer.
These are important too. I feel like I keep going off and talking about things, but this is just a further thing you could ask if you were getting a job. do you pay for my Medicare? Do I pay for my Medicare? Show me everything. What am I paying for?
Which is such a good point. I don't know what ours is here.
I mean, you could literally take this checklist.
Or ER.
I don't know.
I don't know what Farmers State
I could literally take this checklist, though, and go to an interview and say, like, I want to know all these things up front.
Yeah.
I don't know if you'll get the job after that if you bother them that much, but.
So another thing you want to look at, too, is the SIT or the SWT, and that's going to be your state tax line. Dun, dun, dun.
So we pay federal and we pay state.
Correct. So we're in Illinois. Anything on this line is going to the Illinois Department of Revenue, and it funds our state roads, our share of our public education, Medicaid. So this is different.
Different from Medicare.
And Illinois uses a flat rate for this one.
What is our rate? Do you know, Jill?
I don't know, and I didn't actually write it in.
It's 4.9. We should know this.
So another good thing to note here is that's what it's all going for. And at least there's a flat line. We talked about federal income tax. We talked about state income tax. But one thing that there's a hot tip here to find out if you're on track for staying, like, so if you're on track to staying within your tax bracket, if you're getting that pulled, if you want to, make sure that you're getting enough pulled out depending on your tax bracket, you can take the federal withholding for the year and divide it by your income, and that's your real average withholding rate. So if it looks too low and you need to bump that up, that's something you need to speak to your HR department about to get those corrected, so you don't have to plan to pay more in taxes at the end of the year.
And they do have a calculator, I believe, on the IRS website, so you can estimate some of your taxes too, if like you have this major life change, a kid or divorce, marriage, whatever it is. So. Yeah.
And I mean, it's good to consider that for your bonus, like we already discussed, but if you get extra income throughout the year that you weren't necessarily expecting, it's good to recalibrate.
It's so important.
I'm having a hard time with my words today.
I'm kind of stuttering today too, Jill. I don't know what's going on with me. It's all these abbreviations.
I know. I think so, Ashley.
It's funny. Wow. I actually feel like I'm learning a lot in this episode. So the next thing is these after tax deductions. So we had these pre-tax deductions, then we had our taxes taken out. Now we have these after tax deductions, which personally, big fan of. The first one is going to be a Roth 401k or a Roth 403b. So these are the same type of requirement or retirement accounts, but they are funded after tax, which means, okay, we've taken all this money out of our paycheck. Remember, we took it out of the gross, and this is kind of our net, right? We got this net hanging out. It's caught this money, and now we're going to take this money that we've already given to everybody else, and we're finally going to give it to ourselves in a retirement account. This is going to grow tax-free, and you're going to be able to take it out tax-free, and we are gigantic fans of tax-free when we are older. So
yes,
that's where you'll see that next line item. So after everyone's put their hands in it, now it's finally yours for the taking.
And that's where you pay your Roth 401k out of.
Yes, the Roth.
Wonderful.
I think that's a good thing too to look at. Talk with your employer. Maybe it's not, and you have to decide this for yourself and talk to them. Maybe you don't want to do a pre-tax 401k or 403b. Maybe you want to do an after-tax one. Now, I do know that your match will always be pre-tax dollars, and you will have to pay taxes on that later. But your contribution, for the most part, you can decide whether you want to pay pre or after tax.
Right. Another thing you'll see here, if your employer allows for employee stock purchases, your ESPP will be included in this section as well. So it lets you buy your company stock through your payroll deductions. Often you might get a discount on those stock options, but it comes after the taxes are already taken out. It won't lower your taxable wages either, but it will lower your take-home pay while you're contributing to that. So just a good note, like you'll still get taxed on that full amount. It doesn't come, lower the amount you'll get taxed on, but it will come out of your take-home pay.
Yes. Take-home pay is it's a good word, Jill.
Right.
Okay. The next one is going to be garnishes. So this is line item GARN, garnishes.
Ooh, this is a good one to talk about.
Oh, I bet this is so important for people because if you have your wages garnished, I mean, you don't have a choice.
Right.
So this may be, the court is basically ordering that you pay out of your after-tax deductions money to a certain thing. So this is child support, a creditor. This is required by law. So you're not getting out of this. You can't just be like, I don't want to pay my garnishes this month.
Yes.
So if you see that on your line item, and maybe ask how long, you should know, how long are my wages going to be garnished?
Right. Those are all good things to ask.
They don't do pre-tax on garnishes, Jill.
No.
You don't get the full dollar for your garnishes.
No, you might as well just pay that child support.
Yeah. The next one may be union dues. So obviously this could go to a union, funding, representation, and member services. So I'm wondering if like you're I think if you're like, my dad's in a union for a couple of different things. So I wonder, which he's self-employed, so I wonder how this looks on his pay stub.
Right. How it works for him.
Union dues.
Yep.
This is just something that could show up on there.
So it comes out after you've paid taxes on it. You don't get the
net.
whole dollar.
This is net, Jill. We're talking net.
Yep. Another thing
home.
that I didn't even consider doing is if you want to, you can select a charity and have it come directly out of your paycheck post taxes, obviously. But this would show up on your pay stub as charity. No abbreviations.
I didn't
pretty
know that
clear.
either.
But it goes straight to whatever nonprofit you've designated, and your payroll can give it directly for your behalf.
Yes. All right. The next one is going to be employer benefits. So these are things that your employer pays for, right?
Correct.
So this is like after tax. Now it's kind of like someone's giving you this money.
Okay, this section doesn't touch your paycheck at all, but it matters. So an EE match or an ER match show your 401k contributions versus your employer's matching contribution. Okay, this clarifies a lot of things, Ashley. So if it says EE match, ER match, it's your own contribution.
Okay.
So it's deposited in the same account on top of your own limit.
Okay.
Good to know.
Everyone needs to know the EE and the ER, okay? This is a lot. The next one is going to be your life or GTL. So this is group term life insurance. So where it goes, it's the premium to the life insurance carrier. It pays a death benefit to your named beneficiary.
The next abbreviation you could see in this section is STD or LTD, which stands for short-term disability or long-term disability. I just am having the hardest time today. So both premiums go to a disability carrier that pays partial income replacement if you're out for a qualifying medical reason. So this next section is about your employer benefits. So you might see a life insurance policy or a short-term disability policy or long-term disability policy that is through your employer. This is where you'll see those deductions come out or those line items come out. So LIFE or GTL is your group term life insurance, and the premium gets paid to the life insurance carrier, paying a death benefit to your name beneficiary. So you can choose to do your life insurance on your own, or you can elect to do it through your employer. A lot of people do. This would be coming out of your pay stub here.
And then in addition to that, you also have short-term disability and long-term disability. The abbreviations for those are STD and LTD. And so, yeah, just the same idea. You're paying for short-term disability or long-term disability. Another thing that's going to get, there's so many things that can be taken out of your paycheck.
Yeah. The last thing you're going to see on your paycheck or your pay stub rather is your net pay and what you've paid year to date. So we've talked about what gross is. This is where you're going to see what you actually get
at
paid.
The end of it.
That take home pay. So after all these tax deductions, this is what lands in your account at the end of the month.
Yes.
And I think if you don't know what this number is, versus your gross, you're missing out on a lot of opportunity. Like this is the number you should know.
Right, because at the end of the day, it's really it's your take-home pay. That's more so your salary, because at the end of it, this is what you get to spend. Like this is what you're spending on groceries, rent, paying for a house, saving, all of those other things. And just know that, the money prior to this number, people are designating it for you. So do a good job with the rest of your money and where you're designating it, because you just want to make good decisions with your money.
Yeah. And I think the year to date is just like a good thing to double check once in a while too. It just kind of keeps your pulse on what.
Yeah. And your budget, what you can afford at the time.
Yeah. And if you need to make adjustments, know that you can do that throughout the year. It doesn't have to be, at the end of the year, I messed up. I wanted to change things.
I can change things.
Yeah. Sometimes your employer will actually reach out to say, hey, do you want to make any adjustments? Well, that's not the only time you are allowed to do that. You can do this throughout the year. So make adjustments, keep a pulse on things throughout the year, and know what that year to date number is for all of those line items. Yeah. So that's kind of your entire pay stub. There's a lot of little line items. I think this was an all-inclusive list, but we might have missed something that you might be receiving taken out of your paycheck or line item. So if so, we apologize, but we would love to hear too things that we might have missed.
Yeah, so, I feel much more educated after this, because I'm like you. I'm just like, I get direct deposit and it is what it is. But now I feel like I even have a better grasp of understanding. When I didn't realize your taxes I know that sounds kind of silly, but I didn't realize your taxes get taken out after these things. And now we've got the taxes, and now we have after taxes. And so just how all of this plays out makes a little bit more sense to me. So
absolutely.
I love feeling more educated.
And it was good for me to hear the actual percentage of like Social Security that comes out or Medicare that comes out of every check. I just didn't know those things.
I know, because don't you feel like everyone's just like, it's a 33%, you're just 33% of your paycheck's gone. I'm like, this isn't, that's not right.
And sometimes you feel like you're just, okay, here's open my coin purse, take what you have to without questioning it. And this kind of makes you reconsider, okay, now I know exactly where it's going, what it's for, what maybe I'll receive someday.
Absolutely.
Back. So, yeah.
It's really good. Well, thanks for being on here and talking about pay stubs, Jill.
Sorry, I stuttered so many times.
Me too, but it's okay. We're not AI.
We stumbled over those abbreviations, but now we know. So hopefully this podcast episode has been helpful for you, and that you have a better pulse on your pay stubs and know how to read yours. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.
So Jill, where do we go from here?
Be sure to check out our show notes for this episode, and also be sure to follow us on social media and subscribe to our newsletter. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.